It's a bit of a grail to say you rode a Vincent.
The Vincent was always a dream for me. It's the magnificence of this piece of machinery. Simply stated, gives me a chance to own a very unique piece of history.
And it's not something that doesn't come without a little bit of trepidation. I mean, there's always a sense of nervousness when you're on something so rare and so special, and especially something that means so much to somebody. Tom, we're standing here with your lifelong buddy Doug Carper's 1948 Series B Rapide Vincent. What is the Reader's Digest version of this motorcycle?
It's a wonderful all-around motorcycle with a lot of pep and power. And in its day, oh, what a motorcycle. This bike went out of England into Argentina and was brought out of Argentina as a bunch of parts, literally.
After a lot of helping hands, we got it fettled, thus the bike I have today, which I love, absolutely love.
We look back at this and we think, wow, what a neat old bike. It's kind of hard to go back and think, what an innovative bike. Dual brakes on the front.
Dual drums, front and rear.
Yeah.
Unusual.
Just the fact that they used a 1000cc V-twin engine.
Oh,
I mean, we're talking of an era of what? Big bike was a 500.
Absolutely.
The engine's a stress member to the frame.
Exactly.
It's not built into a frame. I mean, this stuff was revolutionary.
Pretty cutting edge stuff at that time, wasn't
in
it?
1948. Coming into this, it'd be very easy to get overhyped. You've got to remember this bike is from 1948, and I think you've got to throw your expectations out the window.
I think I'm more impressed than less impressed. I think I was a bit worried I was get on and go, oh, all that stuff about Vincent's, and now I'm a little bit disappointed, and actually quite the reverse.
Doug Carper's Vincent was built by a man that wanted to ride it, he wanted to enjoy riding it, and he wanted his friends to ride it.
There are just some fabulous touches here that probably would make a Vincent or a classic bike purist lose sleep or break out into hives.
We've got modern motocross handlebars, we've got a larger front wheel, some Triumph grips, some Honda mirrors.
It's entirely a custom selection of him as to what he wanted and what he was looking for. It depends on what you want a motorcycle to be. Do you want it to sit in a room somewhere and look at it?
Yeah.
Or do you want to use it?
When you look at the bike, you know, there's petrol stains, there's oil stains, there's the exhausts are colored from where it's been run, and the tires have been used. Starting a Vincent, obviously from 1948, no electric start. Very complicated process?
Yeah, not all that bad.
Okay, so I'm going to pull up the decompression lever, which is over here. Now, what is this? This is basically depressing a valve into the cylinder to release compression.
We're allowing us not to have full compression.
Okay, so you got to give her a big old kick.
Yep.
About halfway down, just drop the decompression.
That's correct.
No throttle?
Just a little bit as it starts to bubble. Doesn't get any better than that, mate.
That's about as good as it gets.
That's as good as it gets.
What a sweetheart, isn't she?
Kicks right over, and listen to it.
I quite quickly developed an ear for where it felt happy and where it was riding really nicely. Just beautiful. I think the most surprising thing about the bike is how just incredibly smooth the engine was, how tight and composed it felt.
She's got surprising pickup and this beautifully smooth power. And even, you know, out on the roads here, I can just select a nice gear shift, get on the gas, look, everything's clear, whoop, roll on it, and off we go.
So unlike the bikes that we're familiar with today, unless you're a British bike aficionado, and then of course it'll all make sense to you, the gear shifting is over here on the right.
Yes, right, and it's opposite up-down, isn't it?
Up for first,
Yeah.
down for second, which is a reverse and opposite to what we've come to know.
Usually one is down and three up. This is one up, three down.
There's a certain amount of reprogramming before you get on and ride it, but with it only having 4 gears and everything about the Vincent happening at a sort of slower pace of life, there's time to think about all the things I need to think about, and I think it makes the experience just so much more magical.
You can't fall asleep at the wheel, to use the wrong analogy for a motorcycle, and think that because you're doing 60 miles an hour, you're on a modern motorcycle. You have to plan ahead.
There's a lot of really great things about riding this bike, but I got to tell you, the brakes on this bike are absolutely crap. Well, the front brake.
Not unexpected. There was a marginal slowing process when you used it, and I think more of that was because I'd rolled off the throttle.
And the rear brake's pretty good. It'll do its job, and there's plenty of good deceleration. But when you put the front brake on, I feel a bit like Barney Rubble rubbing a couple of bits of wood up on a stone. It just doesn't do anything.
And once you do throttle off and use that V-twin engine braking, apply the rear brake, add what front brake is there, the bike will come under control pretty quickly.
I'm actually surprisingly impressed with this bike. As I just gently roll on the throttle, she's giving me power in very, very smooth and consistent ways. And it's the way that the Vincent's taking the power to the rear wheel. There's no drivetrain lash, no primary lash. There's no disconnect between the throttle opening the carburetors and the rear wheel propelling me forward.
Way more sophisticated in the way it felt, the way it carbureted, and the way it rode than I would have imagined.
You know, come rolling through the corner and tip her in, get on the power and shift through the gears, getting to feel just how actually light and agile she is for an old girl. I mean, she'll dance down the road. Now, you don't want to go crazy. Start thinking it's a modern bike and you'll get yourself into a world of trouble, but within the parameters of a beautiful country road, just fantastic.
But what a brilliant ride.
Just click it down a gear and give it some gas. Away, off she goes.
It's a career motorcycle highlight.